Hi everyone, how you doing? Hope you're having a great afternoon. And I am in a business center at an hotel traveling today, so that's why I wasn't on this morning. But if you can see me and hear me, let me know. Okay, give me a thumbs up, folks. Jen, good afternoon from Cape Breton. How are you? Nick, you can hear me and see me all right? Rosalinda, Nativity, good afternoon. I know, a little bit different. Okay, good. And you can hear me? If anything happens, I'm on the Wi-Fi here, Annette. And Anne and Wendy, good afternoon. And another Wendy from London. Renee, how are you? Good to have you on. Ashley. And Gina, good afternoon. Rita, how are you? From Nova Scotia, or New Brunswick, sorry. Chantal, Ottawa. Mary, good afternoon. Myrna, Alberta. Linda and Larry, how are you? Yalan, bonjour. Bon après-midi. Lisette, bonjour from Nouveau-Brunswick. Annette and Debbie, New Brunswick, well represented. Maria in Victoria, British Columbia. Francis, how are you? From Vaughan. Shirley, Twillingate, Newfoundland. Carol, the UK. Well, welcome. Laurie, Niagara Falls. Laura, hello from New Liskeard. Maureen, Florida. Francis Marie, Fern, Catherine. Thanks, guys, for coming on. We appreciate it big time. And again, just sorry about traveling this week, so I'm a little bit displaced, but we're going to try and get through anyways. Nadine and Maggie in Florida, and Chris. Okay, so I want to bring you an article that was written in the last few weeks that I enjoyed very much. And there was a couple of things in the article. One of them was instant benefits from ditching sugar. And guys, if you do nothing else in your life, I'm not, that I'm not into moderation. I'm into elimination. Okay? We live in an age, somebody yesterday was on the our Facebook page, and was talking about fatty liver and red meat. And I didn't pontificate, although I thought about it. And, does red meat cause fatty liver? Well, it absolutely doesn't. But one of the points I like to make in fatty liver, you've probably heard me say this before, but do you know that when I was in school, if you look at our textbooks in the 1970s, 1960s, and 70s, there was no such thing as fatty liver. There was cirrhosis of the liver, but not fatty liver. And, people were eating red meat in the 70s and the 60s, obviously. So to blame red meat for fatty liver is, in my opinion, it's complete silliness. There's no reason for it. Doesn't make any sense at all. Why do we see even since the 1990s, you know what we see? A 300% increase in fatty liver. 300%. So red meat has nothing to do with fatty liver. As a matter of fact, if you eat red meat, that's guaranteed you'll never get fatty liver. You get fatty liver from sugar. And the worst sugar is fructose. The worst sugar is fructose. And like I said, since the 1990s, it's up over 300%. And remember that high fructose corn syrup came into existence in the early 1980s. And the world has changed, and we see the 93% of the population have some form of metabolic syndrome. Folks, that is the elephant in the room. It's metabolic syndrome and it's sugars. And of course, foods that turn to sugar rapidly. Now, this article was interesting. So they gave 10 almost instant benefits from ditching sugar. 10 of them. Incredible. Okay? Weight loss, obviously, right? If you just cut out sugar. Now, I'm going to tell you something that when I was now you guys, if you're my age, you'll remember this. There used to be in Ontario a grade 13. Okay? And in grade 12, I weighed 220 pounds. And the only thing that I cut out of my diet, and I told you this story before because of my dad. My dad, I learned when I was in grade 12 that my father was a diabetic. I was in high school. His life completely changed. He never had another ounce of sugar in his life. It's funny because even today, they'll give diabetics Boost or Ensure or whatever, full of sugar. How crazy is that? And my dad, who is a very smart man, I remember him telling me, I didn't know much about nutrition back then in high school, but my dad said, look, I'm a diabetic, therefore I can no longer have sugar. And my father was probably the first guy ever that I met that drank a diet pop, okay? I'm not saying that's good for you, but my dad, the diet pops in the 1960s, think about this, 1968 or whatever it was, 67, 68. They had Tab and I think Fresca, if I'm not mistaken. There wasn't even Diet Coke. It was terrible tasting stuff. But my dad, you see, he was a smart guy. He said, I can't have sugar anymore. So when he wanted to treat himself to a soda, he would have a Diet Tab. Ugh, it was awful stuff. Anyway, weight loss. So for my story, in grade 13, I didn't do anything else. I just cut out sugar. I cut out sugar in my coffee. I cut out, because I was drinking coffee even back in grade 13. Of course, I was smart, right? You know how good coffee is for you. So for me, what I did is I cut out sugar. No more chocolate. I haven't had, and I mean this, guys, I haven't had a chocolate bar or anything like it, well, over 50 years. Do I miss it? Of course not. I don't have a sweet tooth because, like I said, I learned from my dad and I wanted to lose weight. I lost weight. I started running with my dad and jogging. And, nobody even jogged in those days. My dad was a trailblazer. Okay? So instant benefits of cutting out sugar. According to this article, weight loss. Agree 1,000,000%. Most people, all they have to do is cut out sugar and will lose weight. Decrease diabetes risk, of course, right? So number 2, yeah, and guys, the best, and we talk about this a lot, what is the best test for insulin resistance? In my opinion, you can take fasting insulin or whatever, but the best test, in my opinion, is A1C. I love A1C because anything over 5.4 on the Richter scale of A1C, 5.4 and up, you are a pre-diabetic. You might as well just admit it. My name is Tony, and I'm a pre-diabetic. I'm a carbaholic, and carbs and I, as much as I like them, I don't get along with them. Admitting that, acknowledging that, and eliminating as much as possible sugar. will have a profound impact on your life, guys. Okay? Decreased blood pressure. We talk about this all the time. Part of metabolic syndrome is increased blood sugar and increased blood pressure. Now, let me get to blood sugar just for a second. Blood sugar, diabetes, by the way, and blood sugar is a very, very lagging indicator. What do I mean by that? It's the last thing to go south is your blood sugar. So don't wait till you have high blood sugar. A lot of people, oh, doc, my blood sugar is normal. Yeah, so what? That doesn't mean you're not in trouble. Let me see your A1C. That's really what I want to look at, okay? Your blood sugar is a lagging indicator. The last thing that will happen in your body is that your blood sugar will go up because your body is dedicated to lowering insulin, okay? It's dedicated to that. Okay, now, decrease weight, decrease diabetes risk, decrease blood pressure, decrease triglycerides. Of course, you know what's dangerous. What's dangerous as far as lipids go? Guys, you can send me your lipoproteins. You can send me your LDL. You can send me your cholesterol. You can send me your total cholesterol. I'm not looking at it. You can't convince me because I don't look at cholesterol the way medicine looks at cholesterol. And I think they're wrong. And I try and explain to you guys the importance of fats in your blood, but not cholesterol. Cholesterol is the good guy. Even LDL cholesterol is the good guy. Total cholesterol is the good guy. You know what's bad? Bad is having high triglycerides. Fat balls. 3 fat balls. Those are dangerous. And they're part of metabolic syndrome. They're part of what destroys your blood vessels and starts the process of atherosclerosis. Triglycerides are dangerous when they're high, and especially when it's accompanied by low HDL. Okay, now I always tell people it happens, there's exceptions to it, but most people, if their triglycerides are low down here, their HDL will be up here. Just about for sure. It's like a teeter-totter. If your HDL is low, your triglycerides are going to be high. Again, there's exceptions to that, but most people fall in that category. What is dangerous is triglycerides that are high and cholesterol, HDL, being low. Again, why? Because when your body produces triglycerides and you don't have enough HDL, you don't have enough FedEx trucks on the highways, you don't have enough transport trucks on the highways and byways of your blood vessels. Folks, triglycerides are very, very damaging left in the bloodstream. What HDL does is it hitches their wagon to the triglycerides and it brings it back to the liver to be metabolized. So when the liver is full, fatty liver, one of the effects of that is high triglycerides and low HDL. I love looking at those numbers because they give me a whole story of insulin resistance, A1C, and when I look at triglycerides and HDL, I'm looking more, okay, they give you an idea of metabolic syndrome for sure, but more specifically, what's going on in the liver. The Costco parking lot is getting full, okay? So this is the article. I didn't write it, but I agree with everything they said. Decrease weight, the instant gratification, instant benefits of cutting out sugar in your diet. That's what's so beautiful about the reset. The reset, no sugar, not even any fruit for 30 days. Okay, you can do it. It's worth doing. Metabolically, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. There's nothing better than the reset. You can do intermittent fasting, very good for you. You can do low carb, very good for you. But the best of the best in terms of resetting your metabolism, resetting your liver, emptying your liver, and resetting your pancreas, making your cells insulin sensitive. You want your cells to be sensitive to insulin, not resistant to insulin. You got that? So we call that insulin sensitivity. The more your cells are sensitive, the less insulin you need. And this, my friend, has everything to do with ditching sugar. Ditching sugar. Fewer headaches. Yep, fewer headaches. You see, one of the things that happens when people insist on eating sugar, sugar is very, very hard on the kidneys. Okay? And when people insist on being carboholics and sugarholics, their kidneys retain sodium. They retain it. You bloat. And your kidneys are stressed, and this is one of the ways you get high blood pressure. And headaches. Very, very common. People, they find when they cut out sugar that they get much less headaches. They're much less dehydrated. Here's one of the reasons why they're less dehydrated. Okay? Because headaches, guys, the vast majority of headaches has to do with dehydration. Oh, doc, I drink a lot of water. Yeah, but I got to see your diet too. What are you eating? Okay? Because listen, sugar, okay, sugar in the bloodstream makes the blood thick. Sugar in the bloodstream slows blood down. Sugar in the bloodstream is very dehydrating. It'll suck up water to make the river flow. You see, your blood vessels, you got 60,000 miles of blood vessels. You need flow. When you have sugar in the blood, it's too high. Even if it's within normal limits, but it's still too high. What happens is that your body will suck out water from everywhere. From your bowel, it'll suck it from your brain, it'll suck water from everywhere to make the blood vessels, the blood flow. Dehydration. So sugar dehydrates you. Kidneys, and what happens in the bloodstream? The blood thickens up. You get molasses for blood when you eat sugar. Think how damaging that is. Not only for headaches, but for blood pressure. Your heart's got to work harder. And it's sucking you dry, my friend. Sucking you dry. Okay. Okay, according to this article, less menstrual cramping. Ladies, isn't food important? And when you cut out that sugar, what happens? Less menstrual cramping, less PMS. I've seen it. You know how many young women over the years who had terrible hormones? I mean, they had so much estrogen. It was incredible, the estrogen dominance they had. But it was amazing because I always started with diet. Always started with diet. I said, look, you can't control everything in life. I'm going to give you a couple of supplements that are going to help you. But the biggest thing that you got to do when you get home is start eating properly. And the first thing I want you to do is cut out sugar. Cut out sugar. Can you do it? Doc, can you do it? You can do it. You'll lose it takes 3 weeks to form a habit and you will lose that sweet tooth. But you got to give it a shot. It's worth it. Less menstrual cramping, less anxiety and depression. Here we go with moods again. Sugar, guys. Well, look, ask a teacher. Ask a teacher. Ask any parent. Does sugar affect your kids? You don't have to be a PhD to understand, you don't give kids a boatload of sugar before going to bed. Are you kidding me? You don't want to give them a boatload of sugar before they go to school because the teachers pay. Holy moly, they're bouncing off walls. So you get less anxiety, less depression. Food's a big thing. Cut out the sugar. Less ADD, ADHD. It's not everything. It's not everything, but it's the big foundation of those conditions. Mood, anxiety, depression. Cut out sugar. Less brain and fog and cognitive decline. Yep, the brain clears up. Your brain is headquarters, guys. It's only really about 2% of your body, but it takes 25% of your nutrition. Headquarters. It's the federal government is up here. And when you insist on giving it sugar, it'll take it. The brain will take it. If that's all you're taking, if that's all you're eating, or if that's all you're drinking is sugar, your brain will say, okay, I get 25% of that. Boy, does that ever mess up. Sugar has a real effect. I've said this so many times. Sugar has a major effect on the brain, especially. Not only the hypothalamus, where your hormones are, but the hippocampus, the memory center, the cognitive center in the brain, your memory, brain fog. Amazing what happens when you cut out sugar, isn't it? Cognitive. Remember what we call Alzheimer's, type 3 diabetes. A real link to high blood sugar, folks. A real link. Better sleep. Number 9. Better sleep. I wrote down 11 things. They gave me 10, but I had to put one that they forgot. You get a better sleep. You get a better sleep. And especially, guys, when you cut out sugar at night, you get a better sleep. Sleep is almost like a perfect, storm. Everything has to be just right to get a real good sleep. It's amazing. Over 70% of the population don't get a good sleep on a nightly basis. Over 70%. Disaster in the bed. Like they just don't sleep well. That is. It's worse than smoking when you don't sleep. It's worse than smoking. I know that sounds crazy, but sugar really does help with a good sleep. Here's the 10th one in that article, and I'm going to give you 11. 10th one in that article, UTIs. It makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you get a chronic, recurring urinary tract infection, ladies, listen, it's yeast, not bacteria. It's not bacterial, it's yeast. And guess what sugar does? Sugar feeds yeast. And a lot of people suffer with recurring urinary tract infections. Recurring. It's a fungus. Must stop the fungus. UTI. Better, the 11th one, I added it in just for today's program, and I'll close with this, okay? The 11th one is better digestion, less acid reflux. Remember now, I go to the bottom line, guys. Why do we see so much acid reflux today? One of the reasons is because we use it or lose it. What do I mean by that? Your stomach is so much more acidic than a cow's stomach. So much more acidic, okay? And the reason your stomach is acidic, very acidic, because you have a very small intestine, first of all, comparatively, okay? But the reason your stomach is acidic is because you were meant to eat red meat. You were meant to eat meat. And you need high acidity to break meat down, eggs down, cheese down. When you stay away from the animal protein, especially red meat, your body's pH, your stomach pH gets changed. And your body compensates. It tries to restore acidity. If you insist on eating salad all the time, okay, guys, I know you think I'm backwards. You weren't made, look, you want to have a salad, okay? You want to have a salad, enjoy it, okay? But it's not the health food that you think it is. It really is far from it, okay? Your stomach was meant to eat red meat, not salad. Cows eat salad, grass. They eat grass. You don't need much pH. Their pH is much higher. A cow's pH is 4 or 5. Human beings, we're meant to eat red meat, steak. And if you don't eat it, you're going to get stomach problems. So people that live on sugar, they suffer almost invariably with acid reflux disorder. Their pH of their stomach, their acidity changes. Because you weren't meant to eat that. Not meant to eat that kind of crappy sugar, especially the high fructose corn syrup of nowadays. Interesting article, isn't it? Instant benefits of ditching sugar. I thought it was interesting. I can't disagree with any of the points they made in this article. Okay, guys, I'm on the road this week. Tomorrow, if we do anything, it'll be tomorrow afternoon. So let me post that during the day, but it will not be tomorrow morning. It will not be tomorrow morning, okay? Traveling. Okay. But I was happy to be able to do this afternoon. And thanks to you guys for coming on with us today. We really appreciate it. Okay? We really, really appreciate it big time. Okay, guys. We love you. I will talk to you soon.